So, what I wanted to talk about today was a little history lesson, or just talk about how far we come with modifying things. And I just bought a Raspberry Pi. I'm pretty excited about this. And this is going to be a small rant, little bit of facts thrown in. I'll throw in pictures too. And we'll see where I go with this. All right. So first off, I just want to talk about the Raspberry Pi. I bought the CanaKit one. The chipset came inside of this little baggie inside of a box, and the box had two heat sinks for it, and also came with the power supply and a little case for it. Total cost was $50. I bought a micro SD card for $12. It's a 32 gigabyte card. And here's the case. I hear that the Raspberry Pi does have a tendency to heat up, so I'm hoping that the little heat sinks and the fact that this case is pretty well ventilated. I mean, there's holes on the bottom for airflow, and there's like a little laser edge here, raspberry. And there's also, it does not completely close, there is a small gap here, kind of see. And the cool thing about the Raspberry Pi is that it is an actual computer. It's a tiny little baby computer, really. I remember back in 2008 when I was in school and I had to do projects on an Arduino board. The Arduino board back then was like $50, and for the little extras, it probably, to do my science project, well, not science project, my art project, it was about $80. What I did was I took an Arduino board, and then I had some touch sensors, and I put the touch sensors inside of GAC, and I squeezed the GAC to make some music and pictures come out the monitor. Like basically, it's like depending on how hard you pressed the GAC, or actually how hard you pressed the sensor, the Arduino board would read that, send it over to the computer, and the computer would, change the display for different pictures and different sort of effects happening while music was playing. It was pretty fun. It was a combination of Arduino processing the language, and also the little touch center and hooking everything up. I hope I did well. I think I did well for that project. And yeah, that was in 2008, and now we are in full on 2017. We are full on tiny computers, and this is just so amazing. Oh my gosh. This warms my heart, really. The amount of things you can do with this, especially, teaching little kids how to program and all that sort of fun stuff, and you can run emulators on it too. Amazing. Which brings me to disappointing homebrew, or just disappointing it. And this is right here is the Ouya. I think I bought this for like $50 new. It was like the first year as release, I got it for $50. Which is actually kind of crazy because I think they were retailing for $100, but I just happened to pick this one up on sale because they just could not get them to sell at all. The thing with this thing is that they first off, they were trying to advertise it as a sort of homebrew machine. Like they try to say, oh, you can modify it, you can do anything you want to it. And then it later turns out that no, it's actually You can actually brick this thing if you try to modify it. This you can sideload apps onto it because it is just Android just an Android operating system, and so you can sideload apps onto it if you wanted to. But other than running XBMC, it really wasn't that great of anything. It's it it's for how cool and interesting it looks. It was a failure. The controller was terrible. You can hook up another controller to it, but there's only one USB port here. It would have done this whole concept thing would have done a lot better if they would have stopped trying to sell it. Let me rephrase that. If they would have just stopped trying to sell and actually make the product, like stop trying to push the whole, just stop trying so hard to make it like an Apple product and just push it as like a hardware or push it as an educational thing, like make it more open source. And you could have got yourself a winner, but instead they really wanted to do things more closed off by first off they're sorry, just thinking about it makes me kind of cringe a bit because their controller sucked. The whole, when you first log on, it asks for your credit card information. I didn't give them that. I gave them a gift card that had 3 cents on it. And then you got to, where you can put the games on, or like buy games or free to try games. And a lot of the games were just shovelware. And they weren't really enticing, the good people to come in and, build, good games for it. Because all the guys who are trying to do good games, they're doing them on the computer and they're trying to get on Steam, okay? That's where the money is. So they should have just really, stopped with trying the whole, selling it to the gaming market. What they really could have done was trying to sell it to the homebrew people, which are the people who are gonna get this thing alive, but they can't because you can actually brick this thing when you try to open it up and do shit to it. It's crazy. I'm sorry, it's just angry. So angry, so angry, so angry. Very angry. Meanwhile, happy place. This thing's so cool. This one, if you're running RetroPie, the only thing you need to run actual RetroPie on this thing is the machine. You don't even need the case, to be honest. And a little micro SD card. Also, a thumb drive. And a controller or keyboard, or both, is fine. And a computer, of course, because you need somewhere to, put the software onto your SD card, and then also use this as a transport for your games to the machine. And it works really well. It actually works well with the Xbox controller. Like if you're running a game that's on here that has like a vibration feature, it actually does vibrate through the Xbox controller, which is pretty fun. But yeah, we've come a pretty far away, I feel. Like failure, success, and all the stuff in between. I'm excited about this thing because, well, I'm just excited about where we're going right now with the whole, tiny computers. And really, my dream one day is that computers will be really small. Like your desktop will actually be this size. But that's not today because I have to run a whole bunch of shit on my computer to do work. But someday, baby, someday. All right. Thank you for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. What do you think? How do you think we've gone so far with, the whole homebrew? I'm sorry. Uh, with all the whole modifying and computers and stuff like that. Okay. Well, bye.